Now, boys.
I guess
It was a fun 4 days, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Top of the cricketing world.
Yeah.
4.5.
Yeah, well, it started off us also laughing at England and what was happening over there. But I think maybe we focus on ourselves to kick it off. And
Look in the man in the mirror.
I'd love
I'm asking him to change his ways.
I'd love for all our fans also to get stuck at us in the comments and give us a kind of the number of how many times we're going to say bulging and dick in the next 10 minutes because it is going to be a fair bit, I believe.
Get the counter started.
Yeah, we're going
Tony Armstrong, shout out, ABC newsman. He had a
did he know?
slip.
Did he know?
He knew. Tim Paine has had a bulging dick for months. Years, some say. And he wants to share it with the world.
4 years.
So I guess we'll cover the headline. So Tim Paine has been in a sexting scandal. He sent a dick pic to a Tasmanian staffer. Of course, he plays down in Tasmania. In 2017.
Just before the Ashes. So December 2017.
So then, of course, it was investigated at that time.
You know when Sandpapergate was? March 2018.
2018.
So I assume this investigation was going on or had concluded before they gone, oh, shit, we've been busted here, you know, caught with our fucking pants down, and let's put in the bloke that also was caught with his pants down. Excuse the horrible pun there. So the thing that really grinds my gears here is Cricket Australia knew. They knew. They've swept it under the rug. They've gone, no worries, Paine, you go out there, you be this, you can be this.
It sounds like they dealt with it at the time. I'm not sure.
Why is it all coming out now?
Yeah,
it's very peculiar timing. It's almost as though there's a
who's leaking
130-year-old tournament coming up in a few weeks.
Well, yeah, true. Well, I assume the last wasn't a pommy lady, but whether the turncoats or
look, I'm not condoning the actions, but the timing of this is very unusual.
Yes,
and the thing is, after Smith and Warner and poor Cameron Bancroft got caught up in Sandpapergate, Tim Paine was like this squeaky clean.
Meant to be squeaky clean, yes.
Leader. He's a good bloke. He's going to take us out of this shameful period. Right, yada, yada, yada. He's a good leader. He's got good captaincy skills. And CA knew the whole time that this, was there. And you know what, boys? I feel bad. I feel bad that Payne's going to go out like this. You know what I feel worse about? The fucking Barmy Army and the English media are going to be absolutely...
Perhaps give us a bulging disc chant for all the lads.
We don't want to give the Barmy Army any ideas.
We probably don't need to. They've already got 10.
Bulging dick. What rhymes with dick, leg, six nearly, though. Six.
I'll let you stew on that for a bit.
Give me 2 minutes. I'll come up with something there.
But go, Max.
Yeah, no, just the timing of it is all just very, very suspect. So it was broken by News Corp. It wasn't. We don't really know where this information's come from yet. We don't know if it was from the staffer herself or if it's
someone working at the club.
Yeah,
someone behind the scenes at Cricket Australia. Like, could have been anyone, really.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't know. I suppose it just poses a question. Like, obviously, organisations do have all this history and stuff. Like, I think in all sort of circumstances. Like, how does Cricket Australia?
There's a HR.
How do they move forward from?
There's HR departments for this very reason, to deal with these sorts of things and to hopefully come to a resolution for both parties. It sounds like that happened and they were happy with it, and it was in the past. That's why I'm assuming Cricket Australia was like, that's all happened. It's in the past. We don't need to worry about it. We'll move forward. Tim Paine's good to go as Australian captain. But yeah, obviously. Well,
so I suppose at the time as well, like,
don't forget what you tweet.
True. I suppose at the time as well, like, if Cricket Australia doesn't pick Tim Paine back in 2018 as captain, then what kind of questions are you asking then as well? Like, it's
Yeah, well, it's...
You lose if you do, you lose if you don't sort of thing. You got to run the risk.
Well, they obviously thought they'd covered it enough, dealt with it and buried it enough that it wasn't going to be an issue from either party, but obviously someone else probably that's what makes me think it's probably someone else within the knowledge. As you know, let this go, or a good journalist probing for news stories to break about Ashes to get cricket and Ashes headlines rolling because people are starting to get interested, of course, with it a couple of weeks away. But yeah, for Tim Paine, it's not great.
No.
So my understanding is he's quit / semi-sacked from being captain of Australia. He's still in the Ashes squad, so he'll still play. He hasn't formally been sacked from the Australian team. So of course he's still going to be in the team and our wicketkeeper going forward. What are your guys' thoughts on that and his long-term career? Because I think, and I'll say my opinion, and I think I've been saying it for months leading up past after the Indian series. If we have a bad series, we'll start this. Well, if we have a bad Ashes series, we lose the Ashes. Tim Paine's done. I think if we win, but
That's
maybe
a big if.
a big series. I thought Tim Paine. I think we had to do well because I think Tim Paine, they were looking potentially to move him on because they've got Cummins coming through, Labuschagne, whoever they want as the next Australian captain. Tim Paine's always kind of been the placeholder until someone else could sort of, even Stephen Smith could get thrown back into that mix, of course. But now that he's no longer captain, what are your thoughts purely on him as the keeper for Australia? Is he first choice keeper, or are there better options?
I think Alex Carey should have his phone off silent tonight. Is my opinion. Sort of earmarked early on as potentially a future leader. Averages 36. We were looking at it in Shield cricket. Has a bunch of tons there. Has played a lot of white ball cricket for Australia. I think Alex Carey will be the keeper for Australia in this Ashes series.
There you go. From the start, or
from Brisbane. What are we not even under 3 weeks away?
Right.
I think Alex Carey will be batting 7 and keeping for Australia.
There you go. Yeah, well, I'll take one. It's going to be a tough. I guess your thoughts as well. It's going to be a tough spot. You have given up the captaincy. Will that be enough?
He was there because he's a good captain. He's a good leader.
Yeah, he's a decent enough batsman and keeper. We think he's a good clubman.
We're looking at he averages 30 in the Shield, has 300s. Carey has already,
he's got better average in the Shield. Yes,
and he's made 6 or 7 tons in the Shield.
Yeah.
So, look.
Plus younger. Paine's not getting any younger.
No.
Mid-30s.
Carey's 30. He's primed. He's ready to go. 5 tons he's got in the Shield. So, he's already got 2 more than Tim Paine.
Averages
36. That's fine as a 7. Yeah, I think Carey will be the keeper and number 7 for us in the Ashes.
Does Matthew Wade enter the chat at all, do you think? As a potential guy that's been in the squad versus bringing in a young fella?
Knows the boys, did play the last time we played Test cricket, which was nearly a year ago against India.
Won a T20.
Just won us a T20.
Half those boys.
Just won us a T20. He didn't make the squad. Neither did Carey.
We're potentially saying a replacement at this point for Tim Paine.
Look, I think he'll definitely be in the conversation. And we were talking before about Josh Philippe. Has to be in the conversation.
Yeah,
I think Philippe. He's still young. He's very talented, especially as a white ball cricketer. Hasn't really taken his opportunities, I suppose, when given the green and gold jersey in the white ball format. I think he will play a lot for Australia.
Definitely. He's not hurting his chances. He just hit 100 in the Shield, so he's there and thereabouts, but I think you hit it. He's probably a year or 2 away from where you really want to be.
Man. As a batsman in red ball cricket, it's pretty rare for 24-year-olds to be out there playing for their country. So I think Philippe will definitely play a fair bit of Test cricket. I feel like this Ashes, it's Carey's time.
So if that's the case, if Carey's coming in, Paine's out. Who's going to be our captain? Currently, the vice captain is Cummins.
I think it'll be Pat Cummins. Yeah.
Do you think they'll do it? The first
fast bowler since the 1930s?
Well, I think it's first fast bowler. The only other bowler was the spinner, because remember we looked this up.
I think we did look it up. I think there was a fast bowler.
There was one. There's not many, but it's
if you wouldn't mind, the last
it's
fast
almost
bowler,
100 years. Like it's a lot
of history. It's a lot of history. I think Cummins is the vice captain. He's he's the incumbent, I suppose. It should be Pat Cummins.
Yeah. Would you say, though, in dire circumstances, 3 weeks out from the Ashes, you turn to a guy that has been captain in the past and still wants it?
Yeah, he's been blacklisted. We've spoken about it before on the Esky. Sandpapergate was a massive thing here. You know, the own Australia's media turning on the Australian cricket team, and probably deservedly.
It's not what we represent, and
no.
they broke that.
Mind you, we were playing against a bunch of cough-lolly cheats in the South Africans, but
but the Australian the general consensus and the casuals don't get that context. They see Australian cheating. That's not how we play sport.
That's right. It's un-Australian.
Exactly.
Un-Australian. Not many of them have that accent, actually. No. It tends to be white-collared, well-educated in things other than cricket that tend to have the loudest opinions when it comes to cheating and bringing the game into disrepute. I think Steve Smith is blacklisted from being captain personally. Maybe Cummins is the captain. Mm-hmm. You know, he does the press conferences. Mm-hmm. He faces the media. You know, he gets.
Yeah, well, we've got two guys behind the stumps that are. Well, if Tim Paine's in the squad, which you're saying he's not going to be, which is highly doubtful. But you still got. You know, Steve Smith
Warner's got plenty of experience. Yep. Maybe Cummins is the captain, but in terms of setting fields and some strategy, maybe it's a bit
especially when Cummins is say doing his spell and
exactly
in his bowling.
Yeah, I think maybe it might be a team effort in terms of that. But my picks. Cummins is captain at the Gabba, and Alex Carey is behind the stumps.
Yep. The only dark horse, I think, and we've talked about this in the past, is probably Loose Bus Change as a potential. If he's not going to be a bowler and you're going to pick a batsman, and like you said, you've blacklisted probably half the batsmen for their involvement in Sandpapergate, and all the other batsmen are probably too young and haven't played enough high-level cricket as a comparison to Labuschagne. He's got to be your first choice batsman, captain. By all accounts, a cricket nerd, so if they want to go that way, potentially. But it sounds like Cummins has been groomed to be the next Australian captain for quite a while. He's been getting the New South Wales gig as well when he's there playing in the Shield cricket. So yeah, I probably agree with you on that. So
did you find the last fast bowler to be captain?
Probably gonna have to go through some names.
You're going to have to scroll a lot further back. Look, Watto captain one test, but he's not a fast bowler.
No,
he could bowl, reasonable meds, but
batsman first as well.
Exactly, he's a batting all-rounder. So that's an absolute technicality there. So keep going.
We a long way.
Ian Chappell, keep going. Bill Laurie, keep going. Neil Harvey, Richie Beno, keep going. Keep going.
Richie could turn it, but I think he's
a spinner.
Yeah. But fast bowler.
Oh, quick! There's a few of the names back here that I can't even recognise.
And that's probably a good enough answer for this question. That it's been a long time since a bowler has been Australian captain. But before we get talking about...
So we're in the 1920s.
Yeah, I told you, it's probably around 100 years. So
that guy rings a bell. Herbie Collins.
Yes. That's
all-rounder. They're all-rounder, they reckon.
Anyway,
it's been a fucking long time.
Yeah. Before we get stuck into the English cricket news...
Hugh Trumbull.
There we go.
Bowling all-rounder. 1902.
1902.
Yeah. 100 years.
Someone might have snuck in there, but yeah.
Long time. Long time is the answer. So the Ashes squad, our 15, because I think that'll then lead us into our English news. We're potentially saying there's going to be a new number 7. Monks, do you have the 15 in front of you? What's the current squad?
Yep, I have the 15 or current squad before breaking news today. So we had Tim Paine, Pat Cummins, Cameron Green, Josh Hazelwood, Marcus Harris, Travis Head, Usman Khawaja, Marnus Labuschagne, Nathan Lyon, Michael Nissa, there we go. Jai Richardson, Steve Smith, Mitchell Stark, Mitchell Swepson, and Davey Warner.
Yep.
So 2 spots up for grabs.
Yeah, well, that's what I said.
Now 3. But opener,
Yeah. So
Marcus Harris is touted. Usman Khawaja is in exquisite form for the Queensland Bulls. Aussie, I think he's got 8 test tons and averages 42. For me, I'm on the outside looking in. It seems like there's some kind of vendetta or some kind of personal clash with the selectors and Usman.
well, you've already seen David Warner's come out and asked for Harris. So whether that's already kind of a
And there's a lot of hate on Harris. He's only played 10 tests and has.
He's 29. He's a young fella. So
yeah, look, he probably does deserve a crack at some stage. But for mine, I think
he's not putting the runs on the board like.
I think Kawaja's Shield form and his test form, when he was in the side, it's pretty hard to argue against. So there's that spot, and then that middle order spot.
Yeah. So if you take
Head, I think.
That's going to be my question. If Harris is 2, then Usman and Head are probably competing for 5.
Yep.
But by all accounts, Head's
Labuschagne and Smith 3 and 4. Yeah. Head's going pretty good in the Shield himself. Khawaja not recognised as a middle order batsman.
No.
I think it'll be Harris and Head that get the nod.
So we're going to stick with 6 being Cameron Green.
Yeah.
You don't think Mish March? He's not in that squad, but he entered the conversation after his white ball.
I love Mitch Marsh, one of the best white ball batsmen in the world, but it's a different game. And Mitch was tried and tested, batting 6. He played over 20 tests and really struggled. I love that he's gotten a bit of recognition for who he is as a cricketer.
Yep.
I think he had an interview or a tweet in after being dropped, from that test team, and where pretty much was up there with the most hated man in Australia for some time. And he kind of
the Marsh brothers and
he kind of said, I want to make it up to the Australian cricket fans at some stage, and he went out and did that in this World Cup. He's in exquisite white ball form and should be part of both the T20 and ODI sides for quite some time. It's a different game. I have seen a fair bit of the noise around social media and the internet this week. Should he be considered for the Ashes? I think it'd be pretty rough on Cam Green after the summer that he had last year.
Well, Cam Green's stayed in Australia, of course, and has been focused on his Shield and the long form format.
Exactly, and before that, played the county season over in England, focusing on his red ball cricket. I think
so. He's a fair 6, 7. Depends on what happens with Tim Paine and the keeper. Alice Carey from Pepe. So then who's our 4 bowlers?
The bowlers pick themselves, I would think. So barring any kind of injury, your quicks are going to be Hazelwood, Stark, Cummins, and Nathan Lyon. The best off spinner in Australian history will be the spinner. And we win the Ashes 4-0 with Sydney rained out, I'd imagine. A lot of it's very wet down here at the moment.
Very, very big time wet.
It is.
La Nina. La Nina.
So
I'll tell you where else it's wet. England.
All
the fucking time.
Yeah. So
Great segue.
well, we're talking about Ashes. We're talking about England. So
we'll get to who's been a wet towel. Azim Rafiq.
Yes.
So I think middle of...
It was middle of the week. It was...
No, it was 2 weeks ago that the big story was breaking that Yorkshire cricketer Azim Rafiq, I think he captained Yorkshire, Pakistani born, had been complaining of systematic racism, not just at Yorkshire, but through the English cricket system.
Yep.
Said he should have, racism robbed him of playing for England.
Yeah. Robbed him his career, I think was his claim.
Exactly. And it was all through the English press. A few people got stood down at Yorkshire.
Yeah, well, I think there was a hearing, or I don't think it was an official trial, and there was a hearing or something where he gave his testimony, essentially. I'm pretty sure that happened this week, which is where a lot of those quotes came from. But, Yeah, so the Yorkshire, so former Test players, current Test players.
Gary Balance was in there.
Joe Root played
Joe
for
Root, Michael
Yorkshire.
Vaughan.
Yeah, so a lot of big names in English cricket getting thrown about in this conversation for systematic racism throughout. So obviously it hurt the man and potentially mentally gave him lots of challenges and did hurt his career. But then on the flip side, today it came out that he himself kind of partaked in this casual racism that we're talking about with his anti-Jew or anti-Semitic. I think it ended up being like Instagram DMs or something. It was
Twitter, I think.
Or it was some WhatsApp. I think it was within teammates as well, that at Yorkshire. But yeah, very much getting using Jewish stereotypes and getting stuck into.
He was 19. Like that has to play into it. I was pretty vocal on this podcast about the Ollie Robinson stuff, saying can you hold someone to account over things that they said 10 years ago? My feeling is no. I would expect someone to grow up a fair bit between 19 and
judge
30.
the man on his current character.
Exactly. However, the caveat being, if you've cried systematic racism and been vocal, and people they've swung the axe, and Yorkshire lost a lot of money through
fines, punishments for,
and that's fine. We need to move forward, but you'd probably want to have a pretty fucking squeaky clean record yourself. And the other thing is, delete that shit off social media. Everyone gets found out. I need to go back over the fucking Facebook things that I did in 2008. It would probably be like January 22, 2008. I'm bored. Lol. Just garbage, just garbage. But in all seriousness, I don't know. It's very easy. It's very easy for us to have a laugh and go, "Oh, look at this fucking peanut." He's cried. He's played the racism card, and he doesn't have a squeaky clean record himself. Obviously, it's more complex than that. There's more nuance involved.
It doesn't mean that racism hasn't happened, and we should ignore it.
Of course.
Yeah, I think it's more of the the English cricket, and especially, of course, for the county and for Yorkshire. There's definitely been. You look at the tradition and the history of cricket, and we're kind of the type of players that had played cricket for a very long time in class, that there is a sentiment there that needs to be broken down. The old boys club needs to be broken down as well.
Sure.
So,
look.
And that culture will transcend errors, of course, but you don't want it to be the focal point of whatever it is going forward. And
Rafiq did claim that he was on the brink of suicide. So, you don't want people feeling like that. Is the take home message?
Definitely not.
But where also, where does it go the other way? In the light-hearted kind of banter, if you will. We're three Australians here of three different ethnicities. Yeah, and as friends, you might have a little laugh. But if it gets to the point where someone's depressed, or obviously there's a line there. But it's sad. It's kind of funny, like in a way that this has all kind of come out.
Yeah, the way it's played out over the last week has ended up probably devaluing the story in what it should have potentially been, and as a potential focal point for change within cricket and within the English cricket than what it's probably going to be because of it. So
we'll see what happens, I guess.
Yeah. What do you think that means for the guys that were current players potentially caught up in this?
Water for ducks back, I'd imagine. Like the stuff with Root was I think he was there, but he hadn't really come under fire. Well, I think a lot of it was sort of a Gary Balance.
What I'd heard as well, that was not that. Joe Root kind of denied, like, hey, I never saw any of this. But then on the other side, have said, well, you were in the room, in the dressing rooms, you're around these. There's no way you could not have been, or have seen, or at least heard some of this. So, there's a little bit of involvement there, but I think they'll come away without too many issues. And Tim Paine's done them a solid. He's gone, hold my beer. Let me sort out this news headline.
Let me get some controversy.
Yeah, let me get this bulging dick out, and then I'll sort it for you. So.
Going back, I couldn't come up with a Barmy Army jingle, but I did Google Barmy Army jingles. We got to fucking step up our game. They have got some elite jingles. If it's Mitchell Johnson, he bowls to the left, he bowls to the right, he's fucking shy. Just little shit like that. Get your shit stars off our flag. That shit's pretty funny. Look,
I can't wait to tune in because first session they're going to get if Tim Paine plays.
Of course
they'll get stuck.
Of course there will be. Of course there will be. But as well, if you live on a little island where it just rains all the time and is miserable,
you've got plenty of time to come.
Exactly. You can sit down there. Aussies are out surfing and fucking getting out in the great outdoors. Winning T20 World Cups, fucking swinging bulging dicks around, and Poms are there. Writing little jingles. I guess so. It is what it is.
Yeah. Someone get at us in the comments with a bulging dick.
Any solicited? Maybe not in the comments, maybe in the DMs. Mate, can we go through England's fucking squad? Jeez, we're only 40 minutes in, and it's bedlam here on the Esky tonight.
It is. All right. English squad
is the captain.
Yep.
Stellar form.
Hasn't had to step down captain for his role, but anyway.
No bulging dicks just yet.
No, still got a few more weeks before the Ashes start.
If any bloke needs to have a bulging dick, it's a guy with the root as the last name.
Yeah, Quinton de Kock, perhaps comes to mind. Nirashan Dick Weller.
We'll get a bit jolly. Let's keep going. Marks, finish off this squad.
I haven't even started. So after Root, we've got Jimmy Anderson, Johnny Bairstow, Dom Bess, Stuart Broad, Rory Burns, Josh Butler, Zach Crawley, Hasib Hamid, Dan Lawrence. We've got Jack Leach, David Milan, Craig Overton, Ollie Pope, Ollie Robinson, David Stokes, Chris Wokes, and Mark Wood.
David Stokes.
Did I say David Stokes?
Ben Stokes.
Ben Stokes.
You were looking at David Milan, I guess.
Yeah,
I suppose so.
Look, pretty.
It's a solid squad.
It's a pretty solid squad. A lot of these guys, the big knock on a lot of these guys, Jimmy Anderson, he doesn't get wickets in Australia. He's only good when the ball's hooping around in England.
I feel bad for him. Like he's got to carry the English squad, and he's played for donkey's years. He's going to have the worst arthritis when he retires.
It's weird. Some guys just don't break down.
Yeah,
he's an absolute workhorse.
He's on that TB12 diet.
Yeah, vampire shit. Anyways, Ashes starts in less than 3 weeks. Both teams are having intra squad warm ups. So a little 3-day sort of intra squad. And
going back to Usman Harris conversation. If Usman hits 100 in that and Harris gets 0, or fuck all, let's say barely makes double digits.
I don't know. There's I think it's obvious.
You have to be,
but there's some kind of politics going on under the surface that we don't know about.
Yeah. I hate to circle back on it, but I'd be interested to see what happens in that match and then what happens.
It'd be interesting. Yeah. But you look at the numbers, and Usman is your clear favourite. You look outside of the numbers and whatever's going on.
Yeah, you pick your back sticks, I think is what you say.
We'll find out.
Run us through some Shield. I think we covered a little bit of this, and then we'll finish off with India and New Zealand to finish off our cricket chat so far.
Jai Richardson in that Ashes squad. Man of the match, WA versus Queensland. These bowling figures, I think, is like when I was bowling in the backyard against the invisible bat, this is like kind of my bowling figures. This is against Queensland, mind you, a pretty handy side, especially on the stick side of things. 22 overs, 13 maidens, 5 for 23. He took Michelle Pfeiffer and went for 1 and over. Thank you very much, Jai Richardson. Put on a few kilos, apparently, through winter time. He's bulked up. He's not the tallest quick of all time. Hitting the gym and trying to get that body a little bit, stronger, more durable, and it's obviously paid dividends. Khawaja, we did mention it last week, had 70, and as aforementioned in the podcast, Josh Philippe made 129. So WA win that one, and then a draw between South Australia and Tasmania. Not too much to write home about. However, Henry Hunt, the young stick, I think he's out of Cowra, just up the road from us here in Canberra. 134 opening the bat for South Australia. He's into the Australia A squad. Keep an eye on him. Probably not this series, but in the future, very likely to get himself a baggy green. India and New Zealand, straight off the back of the T20 World Cup. I
find this odd. Why do they turn around and like, let's play a T20 series? Where are they playing this, by the way?
In India. And it is winter time, or going into it, essentially. And I can answer your question there, Sean. Yeah. Hey, must be the money.
Well, I guess
if you want to come to India and make a few quick millions.
Well, I guess with the IPL and then the T20 having to finish outside of India, to get some cricket to bring it back in India, the local economy, etc., etc.,
etc.
I understand now. They've probably begged the Kiwis and say, just stay over here for an extra couple of weeks.
Must be the rupees. India won. They love winning in tournaments that don't mean fucking anything, don't they? Won the first T20. Surya Kumar Yadav, very good. He had 60 odd. Martin Guptill actually had a pretty good stick for the Kiwis, but not quite enough. So that is the first of 3 T20 internationals going into 2 tests. So
when do they play these tests? This side of the year or next?
No, it's like
December.
Yeah, it's in like 10 days or something. So they've got T22 and then T20 number 3, and then straight into 2 test matches in the Indian winter.
Yeah, I'm assuming, of course, they're also flying out their test players as well, not just the guys that played the T20 squads that would have been in the continent, or roughly in the continent.
They'll be full strength squads,
which I find very interesting. Of course, both playing in that ICC Championship game, World Championship game in the middle of the year. Or say New Zealand's 1-0. We think that should be a three game series at least. We're getting the other 2 of that in this.
Maybe listen to Esky, mate.
Though on home soil for India, there's no
classic ICCB. just rinsing a bit of cash and trying to spin the needle towards India.
Though it means nothing, I think if New Zealand can go into India
and win away,
win at least 1 or 2 of these, they can, that I'm going to say that overall series for them is going to have been won by New Zealand, and for me that kind of cements them as probably the number 1 test team in the world.
Where are these 2 tests matches? They must be in the south of India. I'm no meteorologist in Indian expertise, but I can't imagine that in the north of India at this time of the year it would be very beneficial to be playing Test cricket. Kanpur. That's quite northern, I believe. There you go. Kanpur. That's the first one. Just getting a little Indian geography sesh here.
Yeah, we'll have to see. And I guess that finishes our cricket chat for this week.
Yeah, I think Bangladesh is playing Pakistan, but that's about it. A big week in cricket, obviously.
Surprisingly big week in cricket. It wasn't to start off. We were just going to talk about Australia winning the World Cup for 30 minutes.
Glory, and
then all this other shit happened. It was fuck me.
Yeah. Well, it was a fun 5 days, wasn't it?
Yes.